Braun to win it by a neck. Wiped the slate. Active account came from far back for third. Six, 206,000 in the jackpot pool for a single ticket winner. Number 2, Caton. Sideways Swances to the outside. And they're off. Sideways Swances out quickly. Medusa's Gaze takes the lead. Dorita's Happy is up close. Caton Kid rushes up in between those two. Glory of Chrome won from the outside. And Sideways Swances, who broke well, is now in fifth, about 4 lengths off the lead. Queen of Love, not the smoothest of beginnings, racing on the outside of Awesome Pamela and a gap of 4 to Mongolian Dream. They're heading to the 6 furlong pole, chasing Medusa's Gaze, who has it by about a length. Caton Kid is in second. It's 2 more lengths back to Glory of Chrome, who covers up Dorita's Happy at the rail, 3 lengths off the lead. Sideways Swances is in the clear outside of that pair. Then Awesome Pamela, Queen of Love, Mongolian Dream continues to lag well behind front-running Medusa's Gaze, who carves out the fractions and opens up almost 2 lengths now. Caton Kid second, has to get closer. Another 2, Glory of Chrome in third. Sideways Swances has 4 lengths to make up. Dorita's Happy losing ground. Awesome Pamela is next, then Queen of Love and Mongolian Dream. A quarter of a mile to go. Medusa's Gaze has it by 2. Caton Kid still second. On the outside, Glory of Chrome in third. Awesome Pamela trying to make a wide bid. Dorita's Happy at the rail. They're heading to the 8th pole, and Medusa's Gaze 3-length lead. Awesome Pamela starting to gather serious momentum and closing stoutly in the center of the track. A 16th to go. Medusa's Gaze. Glory of Chrome wakes up. On the outside, Dorita's Happy. A driving finish. It's going to be Awesome Pamela to get up. Awesome Pamela with a sustained drive beats Medusa's Gaze. Then it was Glory of Chrome third, followed by Sideways Swances, and Dorita's Happy completes the super high 5. They're in the gate, and they're off to a smooth beginning. Cotopaxi, Alexander's Dream has some speed. Swiss Swoo in between them, up to take second. Priano, Explosive, just had to steady slightly. They're followed by Cherubic Factor, who settles about 7 lengths off the lead and moving up on the outside. Algeria is by himself at the back of the field. It's Cotopaxi who has opened up. A 3-length lead on Swiss Sue heading into the far turn. Then Explosive, who's now 5 or 6 off the lead. Another 2 back to Cherubic Factor making headway. They're followed by Alexander's Dream on the outside of Priano and Algeria. They have a quarter of a mile to run and Cotopaxi to catch. The lead down to 1.5 lengths. Swiss Swoo in second. Then Explosive and Cherubic Factor top of the stretch. Cotopaxi still with a 2-length lead. Center of the course, Cherubic Factor gathering some momentum. At the rail, Swiss Swoo and Explosive between those two. Cotopaxi, Cherubic Factor on the outside, and Swiss Swoo. It will be Cotopaxi and Diego Herrera all the way. Swiss Swoo holds second. Cherubic Factor was third, then Explosive and Alexander's Dream. "24 minutes away. Hot on the trail at 3-1, walking up. And they're off. Elgo Franco had an alert beginning, but it's a real scramble for the lead. Busy Painter is coming through along the inside to challenge, head and head with It's a Riddle. 3/4 Master is in third, followed by Elgo Franco, who broke on top, but is now just 3 lengths off the lead. A gap of 4 back to Bella Ranella. Hot on the Trail has made it over to the rail, and Discreet Stevie B at the back of the field. They're heading toward the 3/8 pole, and it's Busy Painter carving out the fractions, has it by a length. It's a Riddle second. Master inches up a closer third. Then Elgo Franco in fourth, followed by Bella Ranella. Hot on the Trail, saving ground, has 6 to make up. The distant trailer, Discreet Stevie B. They pass the quarter pole and turn for home. Busy Painter, Master in second. Bella Ranella on the far outside. 3/16 of a mile to go. Busy Painter by just ahead, confronted by Bella Ranella and Master in between. Master, Bella Ranella go on to fight it out. Master, Juan Hernandez, Bella Ranella, Tyler Bays. Bella Ranella gets the upper hand in the late stages. It's going to be close, though. Photo finish, heads up and down. Bella Ranella and Master. Then Busy Painter third, followed by Hot on the Trail. And It's a Riddle. Photo finish. They're in the gate. And they're off. Tardy beginning for New Heat. It's a quick one for Shore Break. Miss Fia flashing speed. Here's Spirit of Bermuda coming faster than all. And Spirit of Bermuda now has a narrow lead. Miss Fia tries to match strides in second. Another 2 back to Cordiality, who's a joint third as they run down the hill. Shore Break is in between rivals, and Royal Address outside of that pair. A gap of 4. Sensible Cat was just passed by New Heat. It will be Spirit of Bermuda to be the pacemaker, prompted by Miss Fia, and Cordiality is 2 lengths off the pace in third. Royal Address, Shore Break between those two as they take closer order. Sensible Cat inching up in the red colors, far outside. Will have to go about 6 wide, and then New Heat. They're at the top of the stretch, and it's Spirit of Bermuda trying to fend off Royal Address, and in the center, Sensible Cat continues to make solid headway, coming to the 16th, and Sensible Cat coming after Royal Address between horses and Spirit of Bermuda. Royal Address is just in front at the rail. Spirit of Bermuda and Sensible Cat. Here it is. Sensible Cat ran them down. Royal Address lost a heartbreaker. Spirit of Bermuda, and it's a photo for 4th. The Logan Suite here at Santa Anita Park. And they're off. Sea Falls is going straight to the front. Mongolian Wind, Sign of the Cross, Absolute Unit. Proverb is caught 5 wide into the first turn. Then it's Heart Full of Stars, racing on the outside of Zimba Warrior and Gray Magician at the back of the field. Sea Falls will set the pace under Edwin Maldonado, in hand by about 1.5 lengths as they make their way toward the backstretch. Mongolian Wind is in second, followed by Absolute Unit. Proverb is close up in fourth, just 3 lengths off the loose leader. Then comes Sign of the Cross, racing in between rivals with 5/8 of a mile to go. A gap to Zimba Warrior, Heart Full of Stars, and then another 5 or 6 back to Gray Magician. They have a 1/2 mile to run, and Sea Falls to catch, leading 3/4 of a length to Mongolian Wind. Proverb 3 wide outside of that pair, gets a little closer as Sea Falls tries to let it out a notch right now. At the rail, Absolute Unit is in fourth, still in hand though, 2 lengths off this trio. Then comes Sign of the Cross. Another two. Zimbo Warriors coming alive in the turquoise. Has four to make up at the quarter pole. And Gray Magician, who was far back, is next. They're at the top of the lane. Mongolian Wind in between horses takes a narrow lead. Sea Falls at the rail, not done. Coming back for more. Center of the track here. Zimba Warrior coming with Sign of the Cross. And one from there inside is Proverb. And now here comes Absolute Unit. Look at this. Right across the track. Absolute Unit on the inside and Proverb. Proverb gets the money. Mongolian Wind. Absolute Unit a close third. Sign of the Cross and Zimba Warrior. San Manuel Casino is now Yamava Resort and Casino. Step into a new dawn and experience luxury like never before. Visit Yamava. And they're off. Increased stakes very fast away from the gate. Copper Bow 10, Flashing Speed 2. They're joined at the rail by Funny Feline, making it 3 right across the course as they cross onto the main course. Swanning is in 4th, guided over toward the rail. Then Mix and Match inside Ute. Another 2 back to She's a Bit Sassy and Sweet California at the back of the field. Down the back stretch they go, and they're chasing Funny Feline, who has it by 2 lengths. Increased stakes second. Swanning inches a little bit closer in third. Copper Bow 10, 3 off the pace, 3 wide fourth. Then Ute, who races by herself at this stage, 5 lengths off the leader. She's a Bit Sassy in the lime colors, outside Mix and Match. And then Sweet California, 1/4 of a mile to go. Funny Feline, 3/4 of a length. Increased stakes coming back for more on the outside. They're followed by Swanning, who looks for a seam, finds it between horses. And here comes Ute on the outside to join the party with good strides. And Ute just needs to straighten up in the center of the course. Now comes right on by to take the lead from Swanning. And it will be Ute giving Juan Hernandez a triple. Ute wins convincingly. Swanning was second. Increased stakes third. Photo for fourth between She's a Bit Sassy and Funny Feline.
If you get inducted into any Hall of Fame, you know you've certainly made a lot of professional accomplishments. And to get inducted into the Racing Hall of Fame means that you're a pro's pro. And our seminar guest today just did that. He's the latest inductee. You also know him as the Daily Racing Form national correspondent. He's a good friend of mine. His name, Jay Privman. Jay, welcome to the seminar.
Tom, I appreciate it very much. I'm just glad that all these years that I've been writing about racing, I didn't do it on steroids.
That is very, very true. And it's great to have you. It's been long overdue, as a matter of fact. Of course, COVID messed up a lot of things without us being able to do any live seminars, other than the fact that Frank Miramati and I carried the baton for quite some time. But other than COVID, which seems to be dominating the headlines, unfortunately, you had a health setback as well. Happy to see you're fully recovered. Talk to us, if you would, about what your disease was and the people that got you back to 100%.
Yeah, so last March, I had symptoms of something going on in my urinary tract, and it was diagnosed as actually being bladder cancer. And long story short, I had pretty major surgery last June 17th. Those are dates you're not going to forget.
Of course.
At City of Hope. And fortunately, I got to the right people, and I had a 6-month post-surgery checkup about a month and a half ago, and knock on, is this wood or Formica? Everything was good. And I'll be on that kind of a schedule for 5 years, and then annual after that, if nothing comes back up. But, you know, Santa Anita in particular, as you know, runs the City of Hope Mile, and the City of Hope is one of 31 nationally recognized cancer centers in the United States. They're on a par with places that people around the country might know better, like Memorial Sloan Kettering, or in New York, or Dana-Farber in Boston. But their City of Hope right here, 10 minutes from Santa Anita, is an equally world-class place. And I'm very fortunate that I was able to get there and get the treatment, and I can't say enough good things about them.
They say you have nothing if you don't have your health, and it's great to see you have your health back. And you're right, those health professionals, Simon Bray also speaks very highly of City of Hope. So true professionals that are able to get you back to 100%. And it's great that you're able to be back and living a full and complete life now.
Thanks.
Speaking of living a full and complete life, we've got plenty of time to talk about racing, but one of your other passions is hockey.
Yes.
And the Los Angeles Kings, you're a season ticket holder. They're actually playing pretty well this year. We always want to cash a gamble or two. First of all, are the Kings going to make the playoffs? And maybe more importantly, is there a sleeper team maybe in the division or somewhere around the country that you're eyeballing that maybe might surprise a few people and we can get a good price on?
I think the Kings can make the playoffs. I think they're outplaying what I thought they would be this year. I still think they're going to regress to the mean and not make the playoffs, but they've certainly been a pleasant surprise in terms of what they've done to this point. And it pains me to answer your second question, because I really think the San Jose Sharks are going to make a second half run. I think they had some team chemistry that's been alleviated now, and good luck to Edmonton with that issue. But I think the Sharks have a chance to make a run, and they've got better goaltending than they had last year. And so that would be my, 40-1 bomber to make it to the finals. But God, I hope it doesn't happen.
I think it's common knowledge that your love affair with racing started with a trip with your parents down to Del Mar one summer. Yeah. How did your love affair with hockey start?
It was a similar thing, Tom. The Kings came into the league in 67, 68, and not long after my 8th birthday, my folks took me to a game. So I've literally gone to a Kings game since their founding. And
back at the Forum?
Back at the Forum. They actually played the first few games at the Sports Arena, but by the time we went to a game, they had moved into the Forum. I went to 2 games that first year, and I just loved it. I just thought it was a great sport. I just think the skill level of what those guys can do, not only to skate like they do, but then the hand-eye coordination with the stick handling and shooting. It's to me, it's just a great game to watch. So I love it.
It's one of those sports that doesn't transcend very well over to TV, right? When you're there in person, it's
kind of like racing.
Exactly right. That's why I brought up the analogy. There's nothing like being at the racetrack, right? Obviously, you live now down in the San Diego area, so your trips up to Santa Anita are relatively infrequent. We see you more at Del Mar. But being at the track, even though there's not many people here on a normal basis because of ADWs and inventions like the cell phone, it's still fun to come to the track because there's so much character, there's so much atmosphere. It's just a fun day out.
And I just enjoy seeing the animals in person, and you don't see that obviously as well when you're sitting at home on your computer. I mean, they're gorgeous animals, and that's one of the things that I loved about it upon my first visit to Del Mar all those years ago when we drove down from the San Fernando Valley where I grew up, and we, as I like to tell people, we hit the animal trifecta that week. We went to SeaWorld, we went to the zoo, and we went to the racetrack.
All three iconic places
Yes.
down in the San Diego area. You're the national correspondent for the Daily Racing Form, Jay, and one of your main responsibilities is Derby Watch. Obviously, we're still in late January, quite a bit of time away from the first Saturday in May. As we look at the grouping right now, who's your top 3-year-old and why?
Well, I haven't really ranked them yet, and I'm sort of reluctant to at the moment. I think the best 2-year-old was obviously Corniche in terms of how he won the Breeders' Cup, and we're still waiting for him to get back into a work pattern. He's at Windstar Farm right now. But our Derby Watch that I do now with Marty McGee, after many years with Mike Watchmaker, the now retired Mike Watchmaker, we're going to start in mid-February like we always do, and we'll have our top 20 then. And a race like today is going to go a long way towards determining, and not only the one here, but the one at Oakland today will go a long way towards determining who's ending up on that list.
Jay mentioned the Southwest Stakes at Oakland Park. That's where you'll find Johnny V. John Velasquez is riding there today. He'll rejoin the Southern California jockey colony tomorrow. We're going to take a quick break, toss the microphone over to track announcer Frank Miramati, get the early changes on today's 9-race card. When we return, we'll find out who Jay likes, not only here at Santa Anita, but also who he likes in the Pegasus World Cup. Stay tuned.
Good morning, ladies and gentlemen, and welcome to Santa Anita Park, the great race place. The track is fast, the turf is firm, the rail on the turf at 0 feet. Here are the early changes. In the first race, start of the 50-cent early pick 5, scratch number 3, Ready, Jet, Go, and scratch number 5, Bristol Bayou, 3 and 5, out of race number 1. The second race is the start of the early pick 4. Scratch number 3, Inesperado. In the third, scratch number 6, Liberty Forever, and with that scratch, no super high 5 wagering. The fourth is the Grade 2 San Vicente Stakes. It's the start of the Rainbow Pick 6 with $232,000 in the jackpot. No changes in the San Vicente. In the fifth race, start of the late pick 5, just the blinker note. Race 6 is the start of the late pick 4. And in the sixth race today, there are no changes. Moving on to race 7, it's the Grade 3 Megahertz Stakes. Scratch number 5, Quora. The eighth race, the Grade 3 Palos Verdes, is also the beginning of the Golden Hour Pick 4. Scratch number 6, Aram. And in the ninth, we have the program scratch of number 10, Lucky Girl. $5 Golden Hour double wagering is offered there. Those are the early changes on today's card. Of course, we have the entire Pegasus card being simulcast from Gulfstream Park for your enjoyment. At this time, we go back to Quigley's Corner for the Handicapping Seminar. Tom's special guest today is Jay Privman, national correspondent for the Daily Racing Forum, and of course, a man who handicapped many years for the Green Sheet.
Welcome back. We're talking horses with Jay Privman. He's the national correspondent for the Daily Racing Forum. He's also the latest inductee into the National Museum of Racing, which is located in Saratoga Springs, New York. I would encourage you to visit that museum. It's certainly eye-opening and breathtaking, and Jay is now honored by being enshrined into that Hall of Fame. Also, he's the host of Thoroughbred Los Angeles, but today, which is normally when you broadcast, you got interrupted by the Anaheim Ducks.
I know. And I mean, it pains me that that's what we're interrupted for, too, being a Kings fan.
But you can listen to Jay's shows nationwide on the internet. I would encourage you to do so. He's got a wide variety of guests and certainly very informative about the weekend of racing here in Southern California. You can hear that each and every Saturday from 8 to 9 a.m. And all you have to do is Google Thoroughbred Los Angeles. All right, Jay, we've got a 9-race card here at Santa Anita, but we've also got at our sister track a big day of racing at Gulfstream Park, including the Pegasus World Cup. I think this is a showdown a lot of racing fans have been waiting to see. 2 Breeders' Cup winners, Knicks Go and Life is Good. We wanted to show a workout for Life is Good at Palm Meadows recently. You wanted to show this workout, Jay. What did you see and what did you want to tell us about it?
He trains at Palm Beach Downs, which is where Todd Pletcher is based in the wintertime. And I just want people to see how good a horse this is in terms of his works. And I was captivated by this horse when he was out here as a 3-year-old and a 2-year-old, because he would train like this as an early 3-year-old. I thought he was the best 3-year-old in the country a year ago. And it's because of works like this. He's trained the same way for Pletcher that he did for Bob Baffert. And he just goes along very strongly. He looks like he's doing it effortlessly. And then you look down and see what the time is, and it's like, oh my God. At this point, he's still 3/8 or so from the wire. You can tell it's pretty early in the morning there at Palm Beach Downs, because the rider is wearing a reflector on the inside of her helmet there. But what I like about this horse, Tom, is just how he strides out through the stretch, and look at the rider, how she's just sitting dead still on this horse. She's not asking him for anything whatsoever, and yet he's still motoring through the stretch and about 24 flat. And even if they take this out past the wire, I mean, look at the hold she's got on him coming to the wire here.
And look at the stride.
Right. And he'll go out just as strongly for the next, quarter mile or so. He's a pretty impressive horse.
So the big question, Jay, is from a pace standpoint, who gets the early lead and how far in front might they be? Obviously, it might be a jockey's type of race if they hook up early, which I don't think will happen. But who do you think is the quickest horse early?
I think Life is Good is quicker, at least in the initial 50 yards or so. And then we'll see what, the connections of Knicks Go want to do. I mean, his best races are on the lead. So I don't think either are really going to take back here, and you'd think in normal handicapping that it would set up for something from behind, but I don't know if there's another horse in the race good enough to take advantage of that. It's just great that these two are meeting. It's so rare that you get a matchup like this, and they've both been pointing for it for 2.5 months, and you usually figure, well, something's going to go wrong.
Of course.
One of them won't make it, if not both.
Like Sunday Silence, Easy Goer many years
I was
back.
there for that.
Sure.
I was at Arlington for that unfortunate development. Anyway, looking forward to the race, and I'm giving a slight lean, as you could tell from that video, to Life is Good over Knicks Go.
And post time roughly 2:30 Pacific time at Gulfstream Park for the Pegasus World Cup. That'll be a showdown that we'll all be watching. We're also going to be watching the 9 races here at Santa Anita, Jay, and race number 1 might be the best betting race on the card. We begin the 50-cent early pick 5, and we're sprinting 5 furlongs in the turf course for fillies and mares who have started for a claiming price of $25,000 or less in 2020, 2021, or 2022. The rails are at 0 feet. 2 scratches, scratch the 3 and the 5, leaves us with a field of 10. The morning line favorite and the current betting choice at 2-1 is number 4, Storming Lady, trained by Jeff Mullins, ridden by potentially the Eclipse Award winning apprentice jockey Jessica Pfeiffer. What say you about race 1?
I thought she was the horse to beat. I think there's a lot of pace in here. I think she should get a good inside trip, stalking the pace, and then make a late run. She loves this course, and she became eligible for this race out of the race from which Mullins claimed her, and she's run 2 good turf sprints since then. So to me, she's a deserved favorite in here and the horse to beat. I do think the outside horse, Miss Carousel, has a strong look in here. I like that she's just kind of a win machine, and her current form is really strong as well, with back-to-back wins, one at Del Mar, and then that small stake that she went over at Turf Paradise in her most recent start. And she's eligible for this as well because of having run for a tag. So those are the top two for me, 4 over 12.
And Miss Carousel, who is Jay's second selection, you look back on July 31st. If you had her that day, congratulations. She hit the winner's circle at odds of 78-1 for trainer Ed Freeman, who's winning at a 33% win clip, at least in the year 2021. And also Jay mentioned Stormy Lady. Take a look at who won her last race. Zero Tolerance came back to win a stakes race here for Sanity as well. She's certainly been keeping good company, and you would consider this race today to be a bit of a class relief for her. Jay, let's turn the page. Take a look at race number 2. We're on the main track. Mile and a 16th is the distance. Maiden claimers, $20,000 is the claiming tag. Also, race 2 begins the 50-cent early pick 4. Scratch the 3, leaves us with a field of 5. Number 1, Funkenstein, is the 6-5 morning line favorite. This starts a sequence of 6 of the 8 last races will be ridden by Flavien Prat, who has the morning line favorite. He could be in store for a big day. I'm sure that puts a smile on his agent's face, Brad Pegram. Funkenstein, though, doesn't like to win races. 0 for 10 lifetime, had plenty of chances. Is today the day?
I hope not. I'm going to try and beat him. I'm going to give a nod to Gordon Jones here. This is the Prof projection play. I'm going to take number 5, Viraggio, who's coming out of sprints, and I think is going to end up on the lead in here in a race where you've got a lot of horses who don't like to pass each other. It's a risk, obviously, that this horse will take to the 2 turns, but there's no reason why he shouldn't. He's by Verrazana out of an elusive quality mare, so there's no reason that the distance won't hurt him. And there's not a whole lot to beat in here. You've got, like you were pointing out, a favorite who likes to run second all the time. So you have to take a shot at beating a horse like that. So I'm going to take the 5 over the 1.
You talked about Gordon Jones, and it put a smile on my face. He's still kicking.
Yep.
He obviously had a big influence on us. You worked with him over at the LA Daily News or the Herald Examiner. You certainly interacted with him on a more than regular basis. He's one of a kind, right? Let's face it. I mean, he puts a smile on everybody's face just by mentioning his name.
He was a pioneer in terms of all the seminars that people, I mean, these on-track seminars that you and I are doing now are something that he did, but in a different format.
Correct.
At local restaurants.
Showing our age, people like Lee Russo would be a frequent contributor.
Exactly.
And Pick 6 tickets is something he got actively involved with as well. That's
right. So, and he was a long time racing correspondent for the Herald Examiner. He did most of the writing, but he also did handicapping, and Jerry Antonucci did handicapping. I mean, they had the best racing paper in LA for decades. I mean, and Alan Malamud wrote for them. So, I mean, all of us who grew up in Los Angeles area really admired the racing coverage that the Herald had back then.
We're showing our age, that's for sure. Race number 3, we're back on the turf course. This time the distance is 6.5 furlongs on the flat turf course. Maiden special weight Calbred, 3-year-old. Scratch the 6, leaves us with a field of 6. Morning line favorite is now number 3, Orth from the Eric Kruljack barn. One of many in here adding Lasix for the first time. 9-5 on John White's morning line. Give us your thoughts on race 3, Jay.
I just don't have a good feel for this. I liked Liberty Forever, but obviously, an issue came up for this horse to be scratched. And so I've defaulted into Rocky Gibraltar, the 7. And it's just strictly a guess. I'm not really crazy about the horses that have raced already. Sadler's horses are always well prepared to run well first time out. And his stats first time on turf and in debuts are both positive ROIs. So I just thought I would take a shot with Rocky Gibraltar, but I don't have a dogmatic pick in here. And for second, I've defaulted into number 5, Sinnin and Winnin, who just did not have a good trip in his one and only start during the fall meet here. And so he's certainly worth giving a second chance to. But this is not a race that I have a strong opinion in, Tom.
Jay's top pick, number 7, Rocky Gibraltar, is owned by Ronis Racing and trained by John Sadler. So, of course, the first thing that comes to mind is Flightline. Yep. You and I have seen a lot of good racehorses in our lifetime. And, of course, we're going to see 2 more today race down at the Pegasus World Cup. What was your opinion, using a Healy line?
My opinion?
What was your opinion of Flightline's performance?
How can you ask me a question like that?
What was your opinion of Flightline and Run Happy's Malibu Stakes? And also, what do you think? Do you think the sky is the limit for him?
Oh, the sky is definitely the limit. He's obviously a brilliantly talented horse. He needs a lot of time between races, and they've given him all that. In fact, he's supposed to have his first work since the Run Happy Malibu tomorrow. And then he'll start getting on a work pattern, and we'll see what the next race is. I know that their major goal the first half of the year is the Met Mile, but I know they want to run them once between now and then. It'd be great if it's the San Carlos here, because timing-wise that would work, but we'll have to see once he gets into a work pattern what they decide to do. But he's a brilliant horse.
Exciting times, that's for sure. Mr. Ronis and Mr. Sadler looking forward to Flight Line's next appearance, as are we. Race number 4 begins the 20-cent Rainbow Pick 6 sequence. The jackpot single ticket carryover now up to $232,000. That'll be yours if you're the only winning ticket today. And we kick things off here with Jay Specialties. 3-year-old sprinting 7 furlongs on the main track in the Grade 2 San Vicente. We've got a field of 5, including 3 saddled by Mr. Bob Baffert, including the morning line favorite number 4, Doppelganger, 8-5 on the morning line. Before we get your thoughts on the race, Jay, we want to watch Doppelganger's impressive debut performance cross town at Los Alamitos when breaking from the rail.
Yeah, and I really like. Ready? Racing. One of the first to show is Blessed Brother from an outside gate, matched by Memes and Big Creek. All the paces coming across from out wide. Treviano's in the firing line. 4 of them jousting for the early lead. A couple of lengths clear of Paroli, Doppelganger. Missing Maurice 3 deep, 4 lengths off the pace. Midnight Fury camps out very wide, and Asphalt Andy trails at the half mile, where it's Treviano the leader. Half a length over Big Creek, followed closely by Blessed Brother. Memes 4 wide, Doppelganger 5th on the inside of Paroli, and a 3 wide Midnight Fury. 3 lengths to Missing Maurice and 5 to Asphalt Andy. 5/16 to go. Treviano's just in front from Blessed Brother. Memes out wide. Doppelganger trailing into it beautifully. He's getting a saloon passage right through now. 1 off the fence, giving chase to the leader at the 3/16, and Midnight Fury after a wide trip is battling home gamely, but Doppelganger went past Treviano in one stride. Then comes Midnight Fury, but Doppelganger breaks clear and will win, all wrapped up as Bob Baffert unveils a stakes caliber colt. Doppelganger from Midnight Fury, Treviano, Paroli 4th just ahead of Blessed Brother.
Jay went off at 1-2 on debut and certainly didn't disappoint after breaking from the rail and trailing some horses, which is atypical of the way Baffert horses run. Your impressions of that race?
I liked it a lot. The rail is not the best place to be over at Los Alamitos. I thought he got a great education that day. He got a lot of dirt in his face going down the backstretch. He did get through inside, so he got a nice dream run at that point. But I thought the experience of getting some dirt in his face helped. He's drawn much better today. And the other thing I liked about that race, going back to it, Tom, was just the way he sort of breezed home through the stretch. Flavien Prat sat on him like he was just out for a morning workout. So I think this horse has the potential to be a very, very good 3-year-old, and I'm looking forward to seeing him hopefully take that next step this afternoon.
Appears to be a talented son of Into Mischief. If he has any competition in this race, do you think it's one of the other Baffert runners, or might it be one of the other 2?
And Pinehurst ran really well fresh last year when he won his debut at Del Mar, and McLaren Vale won his only start, but he only beat 3 horses that day. So it's harder for me to get a line on kind of where McLaren Vale is. Forbidden Kingdom is really fast. The Mandela that's on the rail. I just don't know if he wants to go out to 7 ace. That might be just a little bit beyond his comfort zone. So I think Doppelganger's the horse to beat.
Shockingly, Bob Baffert loaded for bear with talented 3-year-olds. We'll see which one emerges victorious in the San Vicente. Race number 5 begins the 50-cent late pick 5. We're back on the turf course. 6.5 furlongs on the flat turf course. Maiden special weight 3-year-old fillies, I should say, a field of 9. Morning line favorite down on the rail, number 1, Cuban Crisis, 5-2 on the morning line. We saw yesterday, Jay, a first-time turf runner from the Mark Glatt barn disappoint. As you can see in the racing form, he is 0 for 29 now with first-time turf runners over the last year or so. His last turf winner going first-time turf was Magic at Midnight way back in August of 2020. Is he going to break the streak here?
I think he's got a good chance to, but that's obviously a daunting stat. It's something that would, I think, give you pause of making a win wager. This is a horse I would certainly use in sequential wagers, but I don't know that I'd be very comfortable at all standing alone with her. But her one race at Kempton, it was on synthetic, but it was quite good. It was an 11-horse field. She only got beat a neck, comes over here and has a nice series of works, gets on grass, which she should like, and gets Lasix for the first time. So there's a lot of things to like about her, but what you pointed out and what's in the form here is something to give one pause. So I am going to put her on top, but in a tepid way. The other horse in here that I like is the 5, Darling Donna, who does get Lasix and ran last time like a horse who bled. She just completely stopped, and it looks to me like that's a main reason why she's going back to Lasix. And her one turf sprint was quite good in her 3rd lifetime start, her only turf sprint at Del Mar when she came over from after making her first 2 starts at Park. So I'm going to use at least 1 and 5 in here and try and get through this leg. There's a couple of legs in sequential wager say that are really kind of treacherous, and this is one of them.
I agree, Jay. Lightly raced horses adding Lasix always can kind of confuse the handicapping puzzle a little bit. And I want to harp on a little handicapping tidbit that you mentioned, and that is you have to excuse sometimes a bad performance if you can make a legitimate reason why a filly or horse ran poorly. And I think you hit the nail on the head with Darling Donna. It sure looks like she bled that day because she stopped to a walk. And one of the best examples I can think of is Point Given in his 3-year-old campaign. Of course, he was disappointing in the Kentucky Derby, finishing 4th. But then as the year progressed, he turned out to be the best 3-year-old. So sometimes you have to excuse one bad performance for whatever reason, and a lot of time, handicappers handicap based upon recency. You're able to get a good price because of that.
Right, because the form is dirtied up.
Correct.
Exactly
Right. All right, let's take a look at race number 6. Begins the 50-cent late pick 4. Fillies and mares, maiden special weight, sprinting 6 furlongs in the main track, a field of 7. Morning line favorite number 4, American Heights, from the relatively red-hot Carla Gaines barn. Had a winner yesterday, now 2-1 with American Heights in this field. Talk to us about race 6, Jay.
Well, I do think American Heights has got a good chance in here, and I picked her second, but I put Map to the Heart, the horse just outside of her, number 5, on top. And I just thought she had an impossible task last time, trying to go head-and-head with Distracted Princess, who's come back and romped in her next start and looks like she's a really top-quality filly who's going to go on to be a stakes class horse. And, to run head-and-head with her for the first half mile, it's understandable that she ended up getting beat a pole, but she still finished well in front of the 3rd horse in that race. There were only a few horses in there, but it was a tough spot to be in. And I'm hoping to get a decent enough price on her because it looks like she just got beat a pole there, getting beat 13 lengths, but she was running against a horse who would obviously crush this field or any of the horses in here. So I think it was a sneaky good race for Map to the Heart. I like that she's drawn outside of American Heights here, and I'm hoping that she can beat her at a slightly better price. But I'm going to use both of them, 5/4 for me.
Always easy to root for any horses owned by JMS Stable, and that's the owner of number 5, Map to My Heart. I wanted to ask you a question, Jay, simply because this is a new invader, and that would be number 3, Bellamore. Invades for trainer Simon Callahan after last being seen in October of 2020 down at Keeneland. Didn't run badly either start, 2 for 2, lifetime finishing 2nd. Now adds Lasix off the long layoff. Any thoughts on Bellamore?
It's hard for me to go for a horse that Chad gave up on. But I mean, her 2 races were obviously quite good, and she's got a good chance in here. We were talking earlier about the stats with Glatt on turf runners and first time turf. I think Simon Callahan's a terrific trainer, but first time out is not his strong suit, or layoffs are not necessarily his strong suit. So I went in other places here, but I can't knock anybody who likes her. She got bet in her first 2 starts, and she's looks like she's got some quality. I just thought there were other horses in here who looked maybe a little better and might be better prices, which is the other thing you've got to obviously keep in mind.
Bellamore sired by Empire Maker, and that puts a smile on my face because it reminds me of Bobby Frankel. You had some opportunities to interact with Bobby. What was he like?
He was great. I mean, he was one. I tell people ask me who are the best trainers you've ever seen, and my top 2 are him and Whittingham. I mean, he was.
What made Bobby such a great trainer?
He had an instinct for horses that I've only seen in a few people over the years. And he could train anything. He could train grass horses, dirt horses, sprinters, routers, European horses. He wasn't a one-trick pony. There's a lot of guys who are specialized with dirt horses only or turf horses only, but he could handle anything. And he worked his way up from claiming horses. He just had a great feel for it. He was a sensational handicapper, so he was really good at spotting his horses, and he was as honest as anybody could ever be, and I loved dealing with him.
He loved his horses and his dogs in many ways more than humans, that's for sure.
He missed a Breeders' Cup one year because a dog of his was about to pass, and he was so beat up over it that he just didn't want to travel to Monmouth Park, and he missed. It was the year Ginger Punch won the won the Breeders' Cup, and he just didn't want to travel because his dog Happy was going to pass away.
We miss the legends of the game, people like Bobby Franklin, Charlie Whittingham, but of course their legacy lives on. Race number 7 is the second stakes race on today's card. It's the Grade 3 Megahertz Stakes. Speaking of Bobby Franklin, for fillies and mares, 1 mile on the turf course. Scratch the 5 leaves us with a field of 7. Number 2, Warren Showtime, the Calbred, who has danced a lot of dances, is the 5-2 more line favorite, going from a sprint to a route. Give us your thoughts on race 7.
I think she's back at the trip that she wants to be at, and she's a solid horse. She fires every time, and I really do think she's the horse to beat in here. Tom, I like where she's at the trip that she's going back out to, and I think there's a lot of horses in here who maybe are past their sell-by date and are just on the other side of their best form, and she still knocks out good performances every time. But I'll give you one other horse in here. It's kind of a weirdo play that I'm going to use as well, and that's the bottom horse, Canoodling. She's going to make the lead in here, and I don't know if she's good enough to take him all the way, but she's going to get her best chance ever to take him all the way. And she should get overlooked in the betting here because there's so many others in here that have established 2-turn turf form, which she doesn't. But I think she's an interesting stretch out play in here coming out of the La Brea. So I'm going to put Warren Showtime on top, but I'm also going to be using Canoodling in my late pick 4 and pick 5.
2 and 8 in race number 7. So says Jay Privman. Canoodling Jay likes as his second pick. Sure looks like the jockey likes her as well. He flies in from the Southwest circuit where he traditionally rides, whether that's Zia, Albuquerque, or even Lone Star, to ride here in Southern California once again. Race number 8 is the third and final stakes race on our card. It's the Grade 3 Palos Verdes Stakes. $200,000 is the purse for sprinters sprinting 6 furlongs on the main track. Scratch the 6 leaves us with a field of 5. One of 2 trained by Bob Baffert is the morning line favorite. Suzanne, the lightly raced 5-year-old, is 8-5 on the morning line. Also keep in mind, race 8 begins the $1 golden hour pick 4, linking our last 2 races here at San Anita with the last 2 races at Golden Gate. This is a quality filled field, although it might not be a great betting race. Give us your top selections.
I think Baffert's got the race tied up, and I'm going to go with Essential Wager, the 2-horse. I just think he's going to make the lead in here. And his race, he's obviously stepping up in class. He's never run in a stake race before, but I really liked his win at Los Alamitos last time. He's come back to work very well since then, and it looks to me like he's going to continue that good form. But, you know, you've got to wonder that Pratt, who rode him in his last 2 wins, takes off to ride Cezanne, who Pratt has ridden in all of the starts so far. So it's not an appealing gambling race. I'm going to use both of them. I'm going to hope whoever ends up being the higher price wins and move on through here. But it's not a race that offers a lot of appeal to me. My angle here, though, is just from the pace. I like Essential Wager better. But Cezanne certainly has run freakishly good races, fresh, both his win first time out and then when he came off the layoff last year to win the Kona Gold.
It's interesting, Jay. Number 2, Essential Wager, your top pick in the race, ran on the same day as Doppelganger and also broke from the rail just like Doppelganger. They both wound up in the winner's circle, but Essential Wager's race, which you would expect to be a little bit better because he's a more fully developed 4-year-old, actually missed the track record by just 0.07 seconds. So he ran fast, and you can see that by him earning a 99 Beyer speed figure. So I agree with you. I think there's a bit more upside with Essential Wager than there is with Cezanne, but they're both very, very talented sprinters. Before we take a look at race number 9, we saw the workout of Life is Good, courtesy of our friends at ExpressBet and FirstBet. Want to remind you about some special promotions happening at ExpressBet today because of Pegasus World Cup Day. These are promotions related to the Gulfstream Park card, but we've got a Pegasus money back special that you can earn if you make a win wager on a horse up to $20 and your horse gets beat by either finishing 2nd or 3rd. That'll be on all 3 Pegasus World Cup races, races 9, 11, and 12. And there's also a Hit It and Split It promotion with our friends at ExpressBet as well. That's for all the variety of races as well. All the information you can find at expressbet.com. But if you're playing the Pegasus World Cup races, make sure you check out expressbet.com to be eligible for some very exciting promotions and some extra money as well. Speaking of money, Jay, we close it out here in race number 9 with the $5 Golden Hour Daily Double, linking our last race with the last race at Golden Gate. And we close it out going 1 mile on the turf course for maiden special weight 3-year-old fillies. Program scratch of the 10 leaves us with a field of 9. Number 4, Annie Song, 5-2 on the morning line. Here's that guy Flavian again. Thumbs up or thumbs down on the favorite?
He's got a lot of live horses today, and she certainly can win, but I'm all over Michael McCarthy in here. I'm going to use both of his horses as my top 2 choices in here, with preference to number 9, Exit Soul, just because she's only had the one run, and I think there's more upside here. Both of his horses had kind of similar trips last time, didn't get off well, got shuffled back early, made decent late runs, but I thought the come home time on Exit Soul and the ground that she made up behind a moderate pace was a little more impressive than what Duvet Day did, where she had a faster pace to run into. But they both had, I thought, similar trips. I think there's more upside perhaps to Exit Soul only having had the one run so far as opposed to Duvet Day. And I think Exit Soul might end up being a slightly higher price of the two. So for me, Tom, I'm going to try and beat the favorite with 9 over 3.
I talked earlier, Jay, about it's always easy to root for JMS Stable. It's also easy to root for Whitey, also known as Michael McCarthy. He's obviously made a big impression here in Southern California after basically learning his tutelage under Mr. Todd Pletcher. Always great to see Michael in the winner's circle.
Yes, no, I've known Michael a long time, back from when he worked for Doug Peterson and Ben Cecil. He's come a long way, and he's done a great job. And he's very likely could have an Eclipse Award winner from last year when they hand him out because of Cece in the filly and mare sprint division.
Speaking of doing a great job, it's great to see you, Jay. You put up a fantastic performance today. Hope it results in some winners for you and all the people watching. Keep up the good work, and congratulations again on your inductment into the Hall of Fame.
Thanks for having me on, Tom. Very much.
Of course, my pleasure. Good to be with you. Great to have all of you join us as well. Have fun today. Make some money. We'll do it all again tomorrow with another seminar, 11:20 a.m. Pacific time. Good luck.
Ladies and gentlemen, at this time, we direct your attention to the flagpole in the infield, as well